We are starting with the first one, which is the viewing and the filters and the layout functionalities that we have changed and added. So let's have a look. For example, if I'm loading this measurement data, as always, drag and drop is possible, and I double click this data to open the view, you will directly notice that we have a few more view options. We had that view options on top already in the older versions, and now we've added the channel names as well, which means that if a channel is checked, only those patches that are, for example, cyan will be shown and cyan magenta will be shown. This way, you have a very good possibility to display colors as well for the multicolor parts, which were a little bit more difficult or not possible in ColorAnt 4. So for example, if you want to see how the multicolor interacts with each other, here, for example, and we can switch to the three-dimensional view, we'll see that, for example, my orange, my green, and my violet full tones are spread, but even if I disable the primaries here, I can see that there is no interaction between the three additional inks. This is no error, let's say, but it is something we wouldn't do in a newer test chart. So this is an old test chart from ColorAnt 3, where we used the additional orange, green, and violet colors independently from each other without interaction. With interaction, I mean something like this. If I add the cyan in here, you'll see that there is an interaction between the cyan, the green, and the violet parts, or as well with the black, if I put that black inside here. So there is a lot of interaction between those colors, meaning I have more grid points that will make for a better profile for the proofing direction. Because typically cyan and orange, if I just would look into those two colors here, cyan and orange are opposite colors, which can be seen quite well here in this three-dimensional view. Those opposite colors wouldn't be used typically when we create a separation. So it's either cyan or either orangish, but nothing in between. So the separation would avoid this kind of combination. But for proofing, it might be interesting if a profile has this kind of information. For example, in a design where there's some orange used with cyan, then it would be good if there is some measurement data in a test chart that would have this kind of information. And in a newer test chart that we built with our custom chart tool, we would use those kind of interstitial points. So what we can see here with those channel filters, in addition with the filters on top, we have very good possibilities to look into measurement data. And we can see how the gamut is extending. We can see how the CMYK parts are only looking without the additional multicolor channels. And we can see as well how the secondaries, the hull, so to say, in terms of the secondaries, including primaries and the white, will look like. So that's a quite nice functionality in addition to our viewing feature. Another change that we've done to the view, you see, or you will notice that we'll have new options here to switch between Murray-Davis view, which is the density view, and the more modern SCTV view or ISO 2654 view. So all within the TVI view. That's quite helpful. In this example here, I'm using again my 7-color indigo, and with Murray-Davis, it looks like a typical tone value increase curve. So we have something like 15% here for our green, orange, and so on. Just black is a little bit higher. But if we switch to the ISO view, we'll see that we have a visual decrease in tone value. So that means, especially for spot colors like our orange here, using density for the calibration of a press is not a good method. And that's, by the way, the reason why there is that ISO 2654. And now we have a possibility, or a nice possibility, to simply switch in the two views, density view, Murray-Davis, or the more colorimetric view, ISO 2654, directly in the view to be able to see those differences. We have that as well in the curves. We had that as well in ColorAnt 4. You can switch the method to ISO 2654, and we can see how the curves are looking like. That's another nice new feature we've added. So to be able to see all the channels in one view, we had only one channel to see in the older version of ColorAnt 4 and 3. So this view here in the curves view with the 45-degree angle view is basically the same to the SCTV view in the horizontal view. Now, so if I disable these options here, and I have my orange here, we can see it with a -10 around. And if I'm looking here, 50%, that's a -10 around, if that's my anchor point for a typical linear SCTV. So it's just a different kind of viewing opportunities, and it's quite helpful to switch between Murray Davis and ISO in a single switch of a button. So that has changed and is a nice addition to our viewing functionality.